What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to Best Life Manifested. I'm your girl, Wantaise Davis, speaker and master manifestation coach. And today we're doing a story time. I've decided to do this at least once a month or once every 2 weeks because I just think it's extremely encouraging for people to hear that other people are manifesting what they want. I know in the very beginning, which was like 8 years ago when I started my journey of consciously manifesting, it was amazing for me to hear people say, oh, I asked God for this and I got it, or I wrote this down and I received it in such and such time. And I was like, oh, wow. So if they can do it, I can do it too. And better yet, you can spin it and say, hey, what God has done for them, God can do for me and more. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of story time. I just want you guys to stay encouraged, and I want you to believe in what you are creating because it has to come to you. That should be an affirmation. Whatever I desire, it comes to me. So let me get into the story. All right, so this happened about 3 weeks ago. I was on the phone with my mentor. My mentor is like a, kind of like a business coach, and, is helping me get things together aesthetically, branding, all that good stuff. So he takes a look at my IG and he says, your IG looks great, but it'd be really cool if you can add some lifestyle photos. And I was like, I was actually thinking of that myself. So yeah. So he said, what I would recommend is that you get a photographer. So rightfully so, you want great pictures. So I'm like, okay. So we had our session. And it was interesting when he mentioned that I needed a photographer. In my head, now I didn't write this down, I didn't say it out loud, I didn't affirm it. In my head, I said, you know what, whoever this photographer is, I want them to be close. You talking about thoughts become things. That's exactly what I said. I want them to be close. And I just kind of let it go. So after the session, I called my boyfriend and we're having conversations about it. And he was like, so do you know any photographers? And I was like, well, no, not here in the Atlanta area, but I did skim through Instagram and I saw a couple people that I was interested in. But I said, you know what? Instead of me pondering on that, I'm just going to take my camera and I'm going to take some photos of myself and just have a good time. And whenever I'm supposed to meet this photographer, somehow, some way, they're going to come to me. Because in that moment, I just didn't want the stress of it. I didn't want to think about it, and I didn't want to doubt it. So literally, I just was very neutral about it. Like, you know what? I'm not worried about it. It's not something that needs to get done today. But somehow, some way, this photographer is going to come to me. I'm just going to let it go. So I was laughing with my boyfriend saying, I know when people see me walking around with my camera, taking pictures, they're going to assume, oh, okay, she's a YouTuber or she's an influencer, right? And we just kind of laughed it off. He was like, that happens? I'm like, all the time. So, we're just laughing about it. So a couple of hours after that, I get my setup, my tripod, my camera, my lens, all that good stuff. And I head over to the computer area of my apartment complex. So I'm setting up, right? Ready to just, shoot some still photography. And the corner of my eye, I can see this woman walk back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, what's going on here? But, she didn't look like she was in any distress. So I assumed all was well. But then I saw her come back and then she stopped and then she opened up the door to the computer lab. And she says, I'm sorry, are you filming? And I was like, yeah, actually, I'm about to film. And she said, are you an influencer or a YouTuber? And I was like, oh my God, I just said this. I was like, yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, but I'm also a speaker and a coach. And she was like, oh, okay, what type of coaching? I said, I'm a manifestation coach. I teach people about the law of attraction and just how to create with their thoughts and words and all that good stuff. And she was like, oh my God, wow, I'm so happy to meet a fellow influencer. And she was like, you know what's crazy? My husband and I were just talking about the law of attraction. That's some serious crazy stuff. It's interesting. So I was like, okay, so that's kind of cool. So she was like, yeah, we should exchange IG. So I'm following her, she's following me, and I'm looking through her IG and I'm like, wow, her pictures are gorgeous. Like, who's your photographer? And she said, oh, it's my husband. And I was like, wow, interesting. So right after she made that statement, her husband comes in and she's explaining to him how we met. And what's interesting is that they were just talking about the law of attraction. I'm a manifestation coach. He was like, wow, yeah, we were just discussing that. And I said, what's interesting is that I I was just telling her that I need a photographer, and yeah, her pictures are gorgeous. I would love to work with you. So he and I sat down like a week after that, and we just discussed how things would go and how the sessions would be and how to be prepared for it. But what is interesting is that I went back to that thought that I had initially, that I want a photographer that's close. I don't want someone that's far away. I really just want someone that I can utilize, you know, and not have to travel 30, 45 minutes to get to them to just produce a couple pictures. And lo and behold, they both live in my apartment complex. I mean, I can't get enough of this stuff. Like, it is so amazing how this works. But what I thought about in that moment was, okay, so what made the difference of the speed? And I have to analyze this. I'm a coach. This is how I help a lot of my clients. And I really believe the speed comes with the letting go and just knowing somehow, some way. Now, am I saying that you're gonna feel that way about every situation? No. But to be honest, I just wasn't emotionally tied into finding a photographer. I just felt like there are a lot of photographers in this world. There are a lot of great photographers in this world. I'm gonna meet them somehow, some way, whether that's tomorrow or a week from now, I reach out to one of them, or God, you just bring one to me, but somehow, some way they're gonna come to me. So just relaxing in this idea that this thing has to show up, it happened within a matter of hours. Hours. Guys, we are creators. We are. And the awesome part about it is we're co-creating with God. God always has a way. Even the way that we wouldn't even imagine. Like, you couldn't tell me that it would happen that way. I thought I would have to take the traditional route of reaching out to someone. But no, literally within hours, I walk over to the computer area. I'm setting up. I meet an amazing influencer that's doing extremely well in her business. And that's something that I wanted to do while I'm here in Atlanta. I wanted to meet a lot of people that do what I do, or something similar, or just creatives in general, and start networking. So I've met someone that's absolutely fabulous. And then it just so turns out that her husband is a photographer, and a great photographer. And he has agreed to take some lifestyle photos for me. So just wanted to share that story, guys. And like I said before in the beginning of the video, what God has done for somebody else, he can do for you or more. And if they did it, you can do it too. So guys, if you have any success stories that you would like me to share on my YouTube channel or on my IG, feel free. Send me an email at wantaisedavis@gmail.com, or you can just send me a DM and I'll be willing to read it on camera. So I love you guys. Thank you once again for tuning in every Sunday. I want you to have a blessed and prosperous Sunday and a blessed and amazing week to come. See you next week. Peace.